Well, just in case anybody is keeping track, I just got a voicemail. My car is ready.
Oh. Hey, Chris, what's going on there? All right there.
My car is ready at Cherrywood.
What are they doing over there at Cherrywood?
I got to go pick up my Jeep.
What are you going to do with your car over there?
I got its oil change service.
Just basic oil change,
transmission lines,
lube, transmission, fluids, typical
stuff like that.
Typical.
Are you happy with your guy that does? Do you have a guy that you like a go-to guy for your car repair?
I got a go-to garage over there in not too far from where you live there. And
are you still using the guy by
the Sunrise? No. He's too expensive.
You used to say that.
Every time I would say, dude, please just call me and let me know what's wrong with the car before you fix it and how much it's going to cost. And I'd fix it, and all of a sudden I'm like,
that's so. I hate when they
every time I did an inspection, it was $1,000 because he's literally he was literally looking for. And you know what? He did do the work. He does do the work. He was impeccable and everything like that. But I can't afford it. But people love this guy. They can't. He really the lot's always filled.
The one across from the library.
Yes, the one across from the library.
Yeah, from Central Avenue.
Always
Library.
Crowded.
Yeah, I always see.
He does a good job. I just can't afford him.
Do you have a guy you like? By the way, how you doing, Tony?
Hi, nice to see you.
It's okay.
Strangely enough,
I don't even intro the show anymore. People know who. I don't even bother with the intro.
I used that guy for a long time myself, and yeah, he very expensive and too crowded because he couldn't get the things when he said he could because it was always so crowded. Yeah. So I have a guy in Hicksville, but he's. I just found out about a month ago that he's retiring, so the place is closing. So I have to find a new place myself.
Oh, okay. I go where in Cherrywood Auto where I got my Jeep.
Right.
And they're pretty good there. They won't do other unnecessary. I mean, he'll always talk to me and stuff like that. He's good. I mean, it's so hard because unless you know to do your own body, auto work,
right,
you're at the mercy of people. It's like trying to do your own teeth work. If you're like, I don't trust my I'll do my own cavity. You
got your little kit there?
Yeah, I'll YouTube the video and fill my own cavity. You think no? Did you ever try that at home? Pull your own tooth? You know how they do that when you were a kid and you tried to hook it up to a door?
No, of course, because everything in animation is real. That's everything you learn from life, you learn from cartoons.
That is true. Every life lesson I've ever had is from the Mickey Mouse,
and then to the doorknob, and then you just yank that door and
Popeye. Oh, that doesn't work. Well, actually, not only from cartoons, but who did it? I'll start off. I'll ask you in a moment. I'll let you marinate it. I'll say in what movie, but don't answer yet. In what movie was that actually done?
Was it a Charlie Chaplin movie?
Wait, don't answer. Oh. Just think about it. I'll give you a moment because just in case people don't know who the hell we are. This is the Steve Squared Show. I am your funny man, Stevie K. Steve over to my left, Tony to my right. I'm the Joker in the middle. Or is that how the song goes?
Clowns to the left of me, jokers to the right.
Here I am,
stuck in the middle with you.
There it is. And performer, artist?
Steelers Wheel. Jerry Rafferty was the lead singer.
Cannot ever stump him, but I'm going to stump him with this trivia. So in what movie speaking of pulling a tooth, it wasn't a string with a doorknob, but it was a variation of that in an actual movie?
I couldn't tell you, but I assume that it was a Charlie Chaplin.
No.
Was it a silent movie star?
No, it wasn't. It was. I'll give you the actor and see if you know the movie. Let's even go that far. Okay. Tom Hanks.
Oh, I don't know. Was it Big?
Castaway. Remember when has to knock his tooth out
because
then he uses the rock and he crushes himself in the face?
Well, I mean, I assume that whole thing with the doorknob, because most of these animators just get it from old, comedy film, old, slapstick. So a lot of that so I'm assuming Charlie Chaplin or Buster Keaton or someone must have done it back.
It would be like
back then.
You could see them doing a funny bit. So Steve, let me tell you how in tune me and Steve are, and this is how scary it is. It wasn't my opening bit, but I'm making it now because Steve brought it to my attention. He's coming out of his car and he says, makes a joke about what he was having as a pre-show meal.
Yes,
which was
the cow special, the bacon, egg, and cheese on a
So
Kaiser roll.
And then I just happen to have as one of my stories, they're down to the final 4 of the best bacon, egg, and cheese on Long Island.
Is the cow there?
And I don't know. See, what 4 are these? See, or what is the bracketology for this? The March
Let's see
Madness
what
for
we
bacon,
got
egg, and cheese.
here.
It's the bracketology.
I'm talking my Long Island
what are you going with
official
today?
voice here.
You going?
Let's hear the final 4 here in the bracket here.
Final 4. Do you have a drum roll,
Let's
Tone?
see. We got.
Wait, we're going to give you a drum roll.
Okay, give me a drum roll, please. Thank you very much.
Mama Luca.
Yeah, very good. Very good.
That sounds like a helicopter.
Thank you there, Mr. Winslow.
Okay.
We got your Three Sons Deli and Catering in Kings Park.
Never heard of them.
We got
My helicopter's here. Hurry up.
Weinich's Deli in Smithtown.
What?
Weinich's.
Oh, I can't even try that.
Hey, we got Wally's Bagels in North Babylon.
Ever hear of that? No.
And Everything Bagel in Comac. We are everything. That's their...
So, have you tried any bacon, egg? You've had your share of bacon, egg, and cheese. Who
gotta
do you lean towards?
I got to be honest with you, Steve. I don't have a lot of them.
All right. Well,
the only one I usually... The only time I will have...
Steve is like getting annoyed.
The only time I will have a bacon, egg, and cheese, I'm not annoyed.
No, I'm kidding.
Is here, when I'm here. Because, God, that smell. It's just,
Ooh, that smell.
that bacon.
That was another song, right?
Yeah.
Ooh,
That smell. Tony, name the song. Because I can't.
That's the title. That smell.
It
is. That's the title.
That's the title.
Leonard Skinner.
Let's get
Yes.
Stumped Steve. You see?
This is Stump
Every so often you do stump me.
No. Oh, you were really trying to search for that? I thought you were yielding to Tony for the answer.
No, I did look to Tony for the answer.
So I'm you know me, I get a lot of things from Newsday, and this is also in part with the season. So it says here, you can see the back page a couple of days ago. If you can read that, it says Lock Party, Red Hot Storm, a shoo-in for Big Dance after impressive Big East tournament win.
That was then.
Now let's fast forward 1.5 days.
Upsetting.
So obviously St. John's did not get invited to the tournament.
They were gypped. Would you say?
I wouldn't say that, because if you really look, they started off the year, they lost 8 out of 9 between most of January. They lost.
Right.
They played. That was when Rick Pitino called them out.
Yes.
Remember, I said on the show, he said this was the worst season. He's coached 40 years. This is the worst group he's ever had.
And then
they turned it around from that. And this leads to my point for both of you, since baseball's coming up, and I'll ask you your opinion. But I don't think, and they weren't even on the line, because they always named the 4 teams that would have been next.
Right.
Because there was some bubble teams. What had happened was in these conference tournaments, a lot of upsets happened, and they get automatic bids.
Right.
So teams that would not have been in it. So it wasn't like, say, for instance, UConn won the conference tournament. UConn's going in anyway. They don't take up a spot.
Right.
Teams that had no chance of getting in, but because they won their conference tournament, they get a spot.
Right.
So they call that kind of busting the brackets, and it takes away from other teams. But anyway, and so Rick Pitino said minutes after, because I went on to see what his reaction was, he said, you know what, don't bother inviting us to the NIT. He was very upset. Wow. Which I think is a little wrong, because I think, not that the NIT carries any cachet anymore, but seniors might want to play a little bit, and still winning that could show, like, look at us,
Right.
But he didn't want any part of it. He said, you know what? I think that's sour grapes.
I wonder what Coach Lou would say about that.
Carnesecca?
Yes.
Oh, I think they went many times to the NIT. That was like a St. John's thing.
Yep.
Right? The NIT used to be big
Yep.
at the Garden. That was like a fun thing. And it's still at the Garden, I'm guessing, or at least the finals.
Yep.
So that, I don't know, I think that's wrong. I think that was a gut reaction.
Look, I can't understand if Wally's Bagels and Everything Bagel and Three Sons they get invited here to the Final Four. Why can't?
Well, this is fan voting, so so in your opinion, what makes a good bacon, egg, and cheese? Is it Is it the bacon? It needs to be crispy. What is it? The roll? What would you say is the key ingredient?
I don't know. I think it's
shows how little prep I did.
What
for
is
this show.
How can you?
It's called stretch.
How can you? It's like lightning in a bottle. I mean, it's bacon has to be more to me than just crispy. You got to be crispy, and then you got that little soft, fatty part. All right. A little fat.
Okay.
All right. The cheese, of course, must be melted.
And what type of cheese? What's the standard for a bacon, egg, and cheese?
Well, I mean, I think usually it's American or cheddar.
Okay.
Maybe. This is America. When I want a Limburger or some of that French stuff.
No Munster.
No Herman Munster.
Okay. Swiss?
And then what?
Not really.
And the egg, well, you'd like a little over easy, so you want to get some yolk in there too.
So not scrambled or fried. It's
no,
always
definitely not. Definitely not scrambled.
Okay.
You just want to get that. You could just over easy just to cover it. Just so you get that yolk going.
My mom makes the best over. She used to she calls it a bullseye.
Yep.
The bullseye because it's like a bullseye. Very good. Anyway, that's enough. What do you think?
Now
That's enough on egg? I could go another 25 minutes on eggs.
Right?
Now, not for nothing, I make an amazing scrambled egg. I'm a good egg maker. I make the egg oatmeal. I'm famous for my what?
Your omelets?
My egg oatmeal pancake.
Your egg oatmeal pancake.
Which we started back in the day at the gym.
Yes.
Right? I stole that recipe from Joe, which was it's like a hearty... I don't add the 20 scoops of protein powder.
Joe
it's
took
like a
that
manhole cover.
Joe took that recipe and then he just went really nuts with it. I mean, it's just, you ever see what he made out of it?
It was like a manhole cover.
It was like the size of like a Uncle Buck pancake.
Yeah, it was. yes.
And it just had all sorts of crap in it. It was
too much. I do it with just eggs and oatmeal. That's really
That's it. That's all you need.
That's all I do.
That's all.
And you could put a little honey on top or a little fresh fruit.
Right.
And it's a good nutritious
that's
breakfast.
So fun. How about just some log cabin syrup? Just pour
do they even
it
do
on
log cabin anymore?
They do. I just had some last night.
That was it for dinner? You just
last night my parents. No,
you know who did that? That's Will Ferrell in Elf.
My parents made... My stepdad made pancakes last night.
Really?
Yes.
A breakfast dinner. Do you like breakfast dinners? Like breakfast for dinner? Or can you only have breakfast food at breakfast time?
No, I'll never turn down pancakes or French toast.
So you would have, that could be a nighttime thing.
Absolutely.
I can have eggs late, but I don't know. Well, I'm not a pancake. I was never a pancake person. And not because of health and fitness.
Right.
I just was never, I always yielded more towards French toast.
I know you're a Zeppeli person.
Well,
back in the day.
My mom makes those. Well, she would call them again regatta puffs, or I know, AKA known as the Zeppeli. But so that was two good headlines. Yes. Eggs, and patino. Eggs and patino. That's at least we covered that. Did you guys do anything for St. Patrick's Day? Did you enjoy your? Did you check out any parades? They actually blocked off Wantaw for most of yesterday, and it was very annoying to me. I had to get around. It was just... I still don't understand parades. I don't get it. I don't find them fun.
You don't?
And I marched in many
as a drummer.
I know,
right?
And I hated it when I did that.
Wow.
Right.
Did you go to, Tony, any parades yesterday, or are you a St. Patrick's Day person?
No, I didn't do anything yesterday, but I normally do actually really enjoy parades. But I just like the whole community thing and hanging out and seeing everybody. And
you're nice. That would make sense. I'm on the other side of that fence. I don't want to see anybody, let alone march in procession like it's East Berlin or something. You?
I worked yesterday, but the day before we had corned beef and cabbage.
That leads me into my next. So let's talk about where do you get your corned beef and cabbage?
I know, we made it. We cooked it.
You had to get it from somewhere? Was it like a fried rick corned beef? That's usually the go-to one, right?
It might have been, yeah.
Do you like corned beef and cabbage?
No.
Good. Now, are you more corned beef, or if you replaced corned beef or pastrami, or I know it's traditional corned beef, but...
Well, I mean, corned beef is, yeah. But... Yeah, if I had a choice,
all right, you're in Ben's. Any other day besides you're in
pastrami,
Ben's.
by 10 miles.
Okay, yeah, pastrami.
And that's prepared it's not like the same thing. There's a difference how it's prepared.
Pastrami and corned beef.
Yes, corned beef is...
Could this go down as one of our worst shows ever? You think this is eggs to corned beef? This is just a constant food show.
No, I'm going to disagree completely. You're topical, and your St. Patrick's Day was yesterday.
Thank you. Thank you. See, Tony's always. I need more of Tony in my life. If I had more. Can I call you? Can I call you once a day for positive reinforcement, like Tony Robbins?
I don't know.
Tony's
if you'll get it,
Tony Robbins.
Tony, I kind of feel like I'm the reason why Tony is the way he is, because when Tony was a youngster,
Steve takes credit for everything.
No, it's not just me.
There is a little bit of truth to this.
I think it's more Rob would be more than happy to take Tony would cut out from school and listen to Rob's show.
It was actually worse. I was listening during class. And then I would walk out to go to the bathroom and then and call and make a request.
He'd call and make a request.
Yeah.
I remember this guy Tony, and he's supposed to be in school. Tony, you stay in school. Rob will say something.
He did actually yell at me once.
Rob was born a dad. You gotta see him when he walks around the radio station talking to the kids, like do it live. The pearls of wisdom.
This is
that's great.
He's a good guy.
They actually, I forgot to. They showed. Look at Rick Pitino. Look how young he looks there.
Yes, I know. I did take a look at that article.
Oh, did you?
I
did. They showed him from his 19. I mean,
because who doesn't read Newsday?
Thank you.
Yes.
Now I'll tell you what Newsday did.
Yep.
So by them, they put a lot of these back page. It's a lock, and there was other. They did a lot of back pages like St. John's Inn, but. They're doing local papers, and this is all helping because they're local and a friend to St. John's program.
Right.
So, again, it's trying to raise awareness to the committee, look at St. John's. So it's kind of a hand in hand, and I don't want to say money's exchange. It's a very colluded thing, the NCAA committee and the tournament.
Oh, sure.
And who gets in.
Oh, sure.
And I'm sure monies are exchanged hands.
Right.
And how people get in. And and I like they had the committee chairman because they were like, well, this team was omitted. Why was this? And the guy is, he's up there and he's like, we look at every team closely. We have an analytics rating and a metric.
Stop.
Plus, they took checks from certain colleges. It's just nothing is just, and that'll come out and it'll be a Netflix special.
In fact, there's the thing. The guy, the money guy from St. John's sent a check to NCAA. They forgot to sign their name on the check, and they came back with a dirty note.
I don't think there's anything wrong with giving people unsigned checks. I think it buys you time. It buys you time.
You're a big proponent of that.
I am. It buys you time.
Steve, this just popped up on my Instagram. August 2nd, Steve, is Italian Heritage Night at Yankee Stadium.
Wonderful. You want to go? Will there be who will be performing?
I don't know.
Will Phil Rizzuto be there?
All the great Italians, Phil, Joe Garagiola, they're all gone. And who am I forgetting?
Joe Pepitone.
Joe Pepitone, Joey Pep, and
I thought you would do the joke where he does it. He goes, Mantle, DiMaggio, Costanza, the New York Yankees.
The New York Yankees.
He's like, I'm back, Jerry. Are you going to be okay with no TikTok? Now, I know you're an avid, you're all over TikTok.
I don't go over TikTok
Steve
a lot.
does all those, he does a lot of videos on TikTok.
Yes, I do a lot of videos on TikTok. I don't. Yes, I do. But there's this one group called WAI called We Are Italians. And they're having a big. You could get a seat there, and you get to buy a ticket. You get a Yankee hat with the Italian flag on the side.
I don't know if I'll do that.
You got to buy the package though. From We Are Italians.
I'm gonna go on Jamaican night.
Really, of course you do.
Now, speaking of which, I'm glad you brought that up. Okay. And we'll do this in a second, but you reminded me what I wanted to ask you. Remember, I was saying Rick Pitino got into his players and called them out,
right?
On the national stage. Like, he didn't say it behind closed doors; he said it in the media. Mm-hmm. I hate these guys.
Oh, sure.
Well, he didn't say that, but he said it was my worst year of whatever. Then, of course, after last night, he said, "I'm so proud of these guys." Blah blah blah. So. I don't know about you guys as Met fans, but as a Yankee fan, I cannot listen, and I'm a glutton for punishment, but I listen to Boone after games all season make excuses for these guys. Every excuse under the book for players being okay batting 182, making error, and just, you don't know, and he says, you don't know, I'm fine because I know the work they put in behind, but what does that mean? I don't care what they do behind it. That doesn't count in the standings. So my point is, and it obviously the end result was it didn't help. It didn't make them feel better about some stuff. They played better into the playoffs, but yet Rick Pitino's strategy seemed to have worked. He said, I'm not treating these guys like glass. Again, I understand one's college and one is a different dynamic. Nobody respects the professional manager because they're all making quadruple of what he is. But do you find, I don't know, I mean, I know he's not the manager anymore, but was Buck a very apologetic-y, what they want the team to represent? Everything is fine, we're good, but yet the team is not.
Well,
like, I just don't like to be lied to as a fan.
Well, Buck has come out now and said that he would have kept Verlander. He thinks that they could have, and he said, you look at the season afterwards, and Mets could have gotten in maybe a wild card at least. They just might have.
I think that they should go a different direction, and I like the old Jim Leland, just those coaches that they just go off in those post games. I don't like the more, now it's very sanitized,
Steve,
commercially.
I know. Steve. This is the Steve crazy Yankee fan that calls up and
never
says,
call up. Who would answer?
George is
nobody to call up.
I wish I had a nickel every time I turn on the fan and when they talk about the Yankees, someone calls up, George is turning in his grave.
Well.
I think one of the hosts said, you know what? I'm banning that. Anytime a Yankee fan calls and says George is turning in his grave, you're getting hung up on because he's gone. You can't do anything about it. It goes, you can't.
But it's more of just, I just don't like that dynamic. But they do have, so let me ask you guys this. The Yankees have an auction. Right, it's a silent auction, and I'm going to ask what you guys would pay for this. Oh, it's on the wrong side. I'm on the wrong side. So
what's a silent?
Let's see what. Oh, here's one. What would you pay? What would you pay
for what?
The first lot, number one. You could bid on lot number one. Bring a little bit of the Big Apple spirit when you and a guest fly on the team charter. You and a guest. So we're flying on the team charter.
George is turning his grave already.
Wait, with the Bronx Bombers. With the Bronx Bombers in an out-of-town series, obviously, if they're flying. They're not flying to Yankee Stadium. This trip includes round-trip airfare, hotel accommodations for two, and transportation from the hotel to the game on the team bus. So you're with the team. Game dates will be mutually agreed upon between the New York Yankees and the New York Yankees. So what would you bid on that? So you're basically, it's you and a friend, hotel, you get to go. It doesn't say how many games. I guess it's a game. So, it's like a little travel experience with the team. And I'll tell you what the opening bid is. It says what the opening bid is.
For that, I mean, if I had the money for it, and if I was a real Yankee fan, I don't know. First thing is that I don't have any money.
Well, just throw a number out there. Nobody's telling you you're not committed to buying it. They're not going to call up.
I'll say the first bid would probably be about $25,000.
Wow, this is 17.5.
Okay,
17.5. Oh, here's one, and I might do this. Celebrity Bat Boy. Dreams will come true when you got to be between ages 7 and 14.
Well, you look young.
Thanks. Becomes a celebrity bat boy for a thrilling home game. Wear the uniform and enjoy clubhouse access. And you get 4 tickets to the game. You're VIP during batting practice, on the field, dugout. You get a goodie bag, all this nonsense.
You're an actor. You could do this.
How much? What's opening bid to be the bat boy?
Oh, God. Mom and Dad's going to spend a lot of money on that. 20 G's.
No, 10.
Okay.
I'll give you one more. The ceremonial first pitch.
Oh.
Take the field, throw out the ceremonial first pitch at Yankee Stadium when they take on the Red Sox. Wow. Stand on the same mound as some of the greatest pitchers, excluding Severino. Whoever played the game, and a Yankee photographer will capture you in action.
He looks good.
While Bob Shepard, that's odd, the voice of the Yankees, will announce your name.
Well, I guess they're going to do an AI thing, and I assume they'll probably...
You would hope, right? And will also appear on the scoreboard and matrix greeting, and also enjoy a suite party for 24 people in a suite, catered with food, beverage, and your own VIP parking space. So this is you throw out the first pitch at a Yankee-Boston Red Sox game, and all of this. What's the opening bid on that?
I'll say 10 grand.
Yeah. What do you think, Tony? Something like that?
I'm going to go a little higher because this is way more exposure than, say, being a bat boy. So, I don't know. I'll say 30.
15 is the opening bid.
Okay, never mind.
So, that's okay. So, that's pretty good. So, that's like... Are you a TikTok guy? You're not really.
This has TikTok written all over it, doesn't it?
It does.
Actually, Gov's podcast, we do TikTok.
Yeah.
And the club does TikTok.
Now, help me out here. Is there such a difference between TikTok and Instagram?
Yes.
What is it?
Well, I mean, TikTok, Instagram just rips off of TikTok.
Right, but regardless, they're basically...
I don't know, everything's basically the same now. You know,
I get. But I mean, Instagram and TikTok varies. I mean, I could live without TikTok.
Do you watch any TikTok?
I do not.
Okay.
But obviously you do.
I watch some, but I mean, I really don't watch a lot of it. I'm probably on TikTok less than any other of the social media platforms.
I watched To Kill a Mockingbird the other day. It was my favorite book.
Yes.
It was on. They were on one of the TCM.
It was on TCM.
Yeah. My mom, she loved To Kill a Mockingbird. And interesting, and I only asked this because it's a trivia. So the girl that plays Scout,
right?
Her name is Mary Badham.
Uh-huh.
Do you know who her brother is? And she was 9 when she got the role, so it didn't have any. Her brother wasn't who he is, or
I have no idea.
John Badham, who was the director of Saturday Night Fever.
Oh no, I didn't know that.
And but she was cast. They were from Mobile, Alabama, and they wanted to cast just ordinary kids. And she was 9. She had no acting training or anything, and she Gregory Peck, the great Gregory Peck, who portrayed Atticus Finch, won an Oscar for that role.
Yes, he was excellent in that.
And this Steve will get, because I feel like I always like to play Stump Steve. Who did he beat out in one of his most iconic roles?
What year was that?
1963. The movie was 1962, but the Oscars were in 63. So you're talking about a movie in 62. Now, I should give Steve a hint. This actor was he was in one of our favorite, he was in the movie version of the TV series. The Odd Couple.
So 62, was that The Days of Wine and Roses?
Steve-O.
Wow.
Nailed it.
Well, you gave me a little help there.
Very little help. I mean, still, that's Jack Lemmon, The Days of Wine and Roses.
The Days of Wine and Roses. Now,
guess whose birthday it is today? Or was yesterday, I'm sorry.
Who?
St. Patrick's Day birthday. He turned, I won't say, Mr. Rob Lowe.
He's got to be 60?
Right. I'm leaving.
That's a guess.
Why don't you finish the show yourself?
That was a guess. It's
17:59. Are we done? What time is that?
Can we go back to Kill a Mockingbird?
Sure.
Now, Scout has a friend in To Kill a Mockingbird.
Yes.
His name is Dill.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Scout is based on Harper Lee, who wrote the book based
Correct.
on her. And Dill is actually based on a friend of Harper Lee's. Do you know who that is?
So easy. Truman Capote.
Yes.
Really?
Yes. Which makes it very interesting if you see She was very close to Truman for
Yes,
years.
Yes.
Went with him when he was doing the murders. What do you want to go? In Cold Blood.
Yeah, In Cold Blood.
And she,
I was going to say by death.
Well,
another great performance. Oh my God, Truman was great in that. Murder by Death.
Now you gave me that. Now let's play. Here we go. Ping pong back to you. Who in To Kill a Mockingbird made his movie debut? Which screen star, who would later become a movie star, made his screen debut playing and had no lines in the movie? So he played the character of Boo Radley. Steve knows this, but he's trying to marinate it to build up suspense. I know he knows it.
I'm in the
You're right. You have to
21
right.
school of
don't give out. Make it look like you're struggling.
The Barry Enright school of acting on a game show.
I know you know who it is.
I actually did know. I'm not sure if I do, and my guess is going to be wrong. And I'm thinking James Woods.
No,
but it was I did know this at one time.
Robert Duvall.
Wow. Wait, in what?
To Kill a Mockingbird.
Oh, I was thinking Murder by Death.
Oh,
oh my God! I don't know what I was thinking of.
No, To Kill a Mockingbird. I said
yes.
Back to you. And
I didn't.
Did you know that?
I didn't think of. Yes, I did know.
Okay.
Yeah. That's so funny. I'm thinking of Murder by Death.
What are you talking about?
What is he talking about?
I'm
an idiot.
So he had no lines,
right?
And what he did to prepare for the role, which was interesting, because he had to play like a more white albino, afraid of because he was supposed to be a recluse,
right?
He really got into the role for a role where he was on screen for like a minute. He stayed away from sunlight and daylight or anything for like 2 months. Like he just kept himself a recluse. So he really immersed himself in the role that, like I said, if you watch it, he's on screen for a minute. At the end.
These method actors, Steve, they're crazy. Did you ever see what was it? What did Laurence Olivier say to Dustin Hoffman in Marathon Man? Because Dustin was going all crazy about it,
right?
And he goes, "My dear boy, haven't you just think of trying acting instead of?"
Oh wow!
Because Dustin would just go crazy. He would
Speaking of 60-year-old Rob Lowe, who looks like the same.
Oh my God!
I mean, he looks great. And I just like Rob Lowe. I think he's so funny.
Yes.
I mean, he's great in West Wing.
Yes.
He's great in anything. He's
very
just
funny.
Funny guy.
It's very ironic because he does remind me very much of Robert Wagner, and yet he played Robert Wagner younger in Austin Powers. And he did it perfectly.
Right. He's just everything he does. Like even in I loved him in that other comedy with Chris Farley and David Spade.
Yes.
When he was
Tommy Boy?
Tommy Boy. Yes.
Was it Tommy Boy?
It was Tommy Boy. Yeah. I mean, just everything, but in West Wing. But I love him. He does a Netflix special, and I watched it. I don't know if you got to see it. Attack of the Hollywood Cliches.
No.
And he hosts it, but it's very funny. He tells you all the movie secrets and tricks. Right. But he's just a funny guy. So obviously he's in Outsiders, right?
Right.
Which is on Broadway now.
Musical, yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know if Steve will get this. I don't know why I feel like I'm giving Steve a lot of trivia today. Do you know who also auditioned but did not get the role in The Outsiders? Another famous part of that Rat Packy,
right?
That were always getting parts of all those '80s movies for those guys in the '80s.
Well,
which is hard because everybody got cast in that movie.
Everybody. I mean, all these guys auditioned in these movies.
I know. So they were all the same. But, one of my favorites, that's why I bring him up.
Oh, shoot.
And in one of my favorite movies, my iconic on my list, he auditioned. So you got to think of someone at that age and starting to become an 80s kid actor or teen actor.
Well, Macho was in it, right?
Right.
And
Pony Boy.
Tony Boy. Andrew McCarthy was in it, right? Was he in it?
No, he was not in it. But he was not who I'm thinking
of.
God.
Yeah, you're stumping me.
Anthony Michael Hall.
Of course. I mean, all these movies, they were all getting...
Right.
if you ever see, I mean, I have the DVD.
But his face is too. I mean, they all had those innocent looking faces, so I can't say that.
I have the DVD for Fast Times at Ridgemont High with the director's cut.
Yeah, and
they talk about all the actors that auditioned,
right?
And they talked to Matthew Broderick auditioned. Right. I mean, really, just every Rat Packer was in the who became Rat. Every Brad Packer,
Brad Packer
seemed to audition it.
We were talking about a little bit about Happy Days before we came on, and we were talking because I'm reading the Henry Winkler book, and we were saying we kind of liked the early Happy Days before Ron Howard left, and I feel like that with most sitcoms. I watched MASH the other night, and it was a later one with BJ
Honeycutt.
But what was his acting name? I like
Mike Farrell.
Mike Farrell, a good actor, and I like Mike Farrell.
Yeah, he's good.
I like the earlier, funnier MASHes. I think they got, when Winchester came, it got so serious, and I just think McLean Stevenson was so funny.
Oh, McLean. Well, I'm sure McLean would have told you to his dying day that was probably a mistake.
That he
left.
Oh, I didn't know he left on his own.
Oh,
accord.
He did. He left on his own. McLean was stood out like a big star. He really did. He was filming.
But he was a stand-up guy, wasn't he? Didn't he do some stand-up?
He was an actor.
I know he was an actor. Yeah, he's very funny.
But he was very funny. He was on Carson all the time. Right. Very good. Excellent guest. He ended up, filling in on the Tonight Show. He was another one that people, were loving, and I think he probably was thinking that he could get something better. And so he left. I mean, and they didn't tell them that they were going to kill Henry Blake until the last minute.
Right.
But I mean, McLean, it's unfortunate that he's become it was such a joke and all these terrible shows that he had done that didn't,
but you never know. But I mean, I just like the earlier MASHes. I like Larry Linville.
Yes.
As Frank. I thought he was funnier with Mark. I didn't care for David Ogden. And I like David Ogden stars. It got more.
This is what happened. And I heard Wayne Rogers say it also.
And he was another one who I loved.
He left on his own.
Loved him.
He left on
Trapper
his own.
John.
Yep. Alan Alda had a lot of control over that show after a while. And he kind of steered it into that serious, dramatic,
right, more
mode.
Stories, more heart, more real.
So that's,
No. But I think I like the early ones. They were more slapsticky, more funnier, lighter.
Yeah. But you know what? If they kept it like that, it wouldn't have lasted 12 years. I don't think.
Right? No,
I get it. And a lot of people would say, "Well, how is Frank? How are you gonna develop Frank Burns? I mean, he's just the most one-dimensional character in the world, But he was great, Larry Linville.
I liked Larry Linville. And
in the movie, do you know who played Frank Burns in the movie of MASH?
I'm going to say Robert Duvall.
Yes, that's right.
And I'm right.
Yes, of course.
We know there's a lot you can't get by us.
Full circle.
I figured we'll just go back to Duvall.
It's always Duvall. When in doubt, Duvall. Right? But even in Three's Company, I like the earlier ones, the Suzanne Summers ones, and then they try. I just find that in sitcoms when they start getting tired, you know what I mean? They start trying to get serious.
You know what?
The magic is kind of gone.
Well, Three's Company never got serious per se.
No, but it wasn't the same.
But that's the thing. That's what happens with American television. They made you push out these 39 episodes.
Well, that's
in the time they were doing, in the 60s and even the 50s, they were doing 39 episodes a year.
Right.
I mean, that's just nuts. Can you think about that?
I mean, it's funny because when you say that, and I was reading in the Henry Winkler book, Barry, HBO ordered 12, and they said, no, we'll do 8.
Yep.
Like, they didn't even want to do 12.
Right.
He said, let's start with 8.
Right.
I can handle that.
Right.
and they've been doing.
And now 8, or the British mode, which I think that's what they started doing with The Sopranos and Mad Men, 13 episodes in a season. I mean, really, what do you do with the storyline for 39. And it was even worse in the 50s and the 60s with sitcoms. Okay, you got to do 30 episodes a season, and the main rule in a sitcom is, well, nothing can change.
Right.
So, you watch the beginning, watch the end, nothing can change. No characters don't develop. The situation is all settled
Right.
in a half
It's
in
basically
a half an hour,
formulated.
but you can't even develop the character. No, you just everything stays the same.
No
Nothing
arc.
ever changes. No one ever gets off the island at Gilligan.
They wore the same clothes even every week.
Right.
I mean,
yeah,
Mrs. Cleaver, Donna Reed. They,
Dick Van Dyke.
Dick Van Dyke's a little better.
Yeah.
Let's give Dick.
No, I love Dick. I love Dick Van Dyke. They had before I was going to ask you about this, but wait, what was the?
Do you want to do a temperature before we go?
Is it 18 degrees? No,
it's
73.
Well, 73 inside, but outside right now
it's chilly. What is
46.
And you see how spoiled we are? 46 normally wouldn't be horrific for mid-March, even if it was daytime would be, right. I think. And we're like, so we had 65, 70 degree. We're like, ew.
When you wake up tomorrow morning at 6 a.m., it'll be 33 degrees.
Well, you're waking up at 6 a.m.
Oh, no, I'm waking up at, I am waking up at 3:30.
What time will it be?
It'll be a balmy 35 degrees.
You better wear your SPF.
I better.
So the, what was I going to tell you? Did you know, the Ghostbusters movie comes out Friday night.
Is it this week?
22nd.
Wow.
Ghostbusters, Frozen, is it Frozen? Frozen Empire. And everybody's in it.
Yep.
Including Patton Oswalt.
Yes.
Which I'm a big Patton Oswalt
always like
fan.
Patton Oswalt.
Yeah, he's always good for these type of things. He plays like I loved him, they even snuck him into Mystery Science Theater 3000, which I think should be brought back.
Yes.
Even though it's been brought back 9 times.
Distant future.
The other that's what they're rebooting. Naked Gun follows Police Squad. And did you hear about this?
Unfortunately.
And this is I don't think this is going to be.
Who are they putting in this?
Who are they putting in this?
You want me
ahead,
to say?
Tony, yeah.
Liam Neeson is playing Frank Drebin.
How can that be? I mean, how's that going to work?
God, that's Broadcom. Well, you know what? I'll tell you why. Leslie Nielsen. You never saw Leslie Nielsen do broad comedy in the 30 or 40 years of his acting career until Airplane. So who knows? Maybe Liam could do that. Maybe he possesses.
I'll tell you where he
specific set of skills that will make people laugh.
You have more faith in him than I do.
You know what? But no, it's just like it's the thing that's really bad is just remaking something that's there already.
If you want to do that type of thing where you take a dramatic actor and do some kind of slapstick, fine. Then do a new movie.
Yes.
Why is that?
Yes, because you're holding him up to a standard. And it's not going to He's not going to be able to live up to it, and you have real people, especially with the Files of Police Squad, are very they know Naked Gun, and they're very
now
attached to that.
Is Abrams? Are they?
I don't even know.
Onto
Are
this?
they still around?
They're alive, yeah. Or one of them is Zucker and Abrams, and I think one of the brothers are dead, but I don't know.
Steve.
Does that look like Steve?
You don't think it does?
What, you think that looks like you? Let me see. Tony thinks that looks like you.
No comment.
He doesn't look. He's not a bad-looking guy. I don't know who he is. Wanted for murder.
It's John McMahon of Levittown. Maybe he's one of the Long Island people on the move. Steve, of course, a big fan of Newsday and is a big fan of the Long Island people on the move.
I'm not.
Let's see what John is up to.
He's in Levittown. You could probably get him here in 5 minutes.
Has been hired as a coatings observer.
Oh.
What?
Coatings Observer 1 at H2M Architects and Engineers in Melville. Wow. McMahon was a project specialist at Gray Bar in Garden City.
Give me this back.
Steve, what? Tony, Can we call him up and say you want to come down to Governor's?
That's
what I'm saying. He's in Levittown. He's 5 minutes away. We can get him on here.
That's not why I had this. Why I had this was the other story, and I talked about it last week, but I wanted to get you guys.
How dare you hijack the show?
Don't
Tony.
hijack this show, Tony.
Sorry.
But it's okay. I like any chance we have a chance to give a zing at Steve. Steve's on the move too.
I wish.
The Wendy's. Did you hear about this?
Now, didn't they didn't. What date is this? Is this?
No, this is past. Yeah, this is.
So Wendy's have since
they
gone back saying they're
not going to do that. So did you hear this Wendy's thing where they were going to have dynamic pricing where a burger would cost more at a certain time of day? What are you doing?
Well, if the Mets can do it, if the Yankees can do it, why can't Wendy's?
What do you mean do it?
Right.
What do they do?
Well, if there's a good
depending on the inning,
depending on the team.
Oh, really?
So
yeah.
So
that's been going on for a long
so
time.
I didn't even know
the
that.
Dodgers come to town. You got to pay
that's-
more. You pay more money if the
A
Yankees
Subway Series.
If it's a Subway Series, everything is more expensive.
You just reminded me, and this
here we go.
Yes, I have to get this out quick because this pertains to both of you.
Why don't we get Newsday Why don't we just get Newsday to sponsor this darn show?
Should be called
really, Steve.
Steve's Newsday show.
Yeah, while I look for this, you could talk about they got another Columbo crime family guy. I thought
This
you
guy,
might.
no one promotes Newsday more than Steve does.
That's right.
Though he insists that he hates them.
Well, I want to apologize for cutting off your Naked Gun story.
Don't cut off.
I
It
felt
wasn't the
bad.
Naked Gun. I think it was the Wendy's story, which needed to be cut off. So I'm glad you did.
77 years old. He's getting a 51-month prison term for extortion.
Is that good or bad?
I like to hear. I always like to hear the defense comments. I hope there's a good quote.
I thought this was Jerry Lewis. Does that look like Jerry Lewis? No, does that look like Jerry Lewis?
That's a bad bad story. I read that.
I'm not telling the story, but I think it looks like Jerry Lewis.
God,
this is what I. I'm sorry. It does, right? That totally looks like Jerry Lewis. Did you see this?
I literally was reading this article
Tony,
in the car.
This? Fewer fans at Isles games. So what they did, and this is what they're saying because of how it is to get to the UBS
location
is causing a downturn. So they
I
break
believe
it
it.
down. But
I will say this though, I like taking the train there.
Do you? Yeah, I haven't done it.
Get on Hicksville, you're there in 15 minutes.
Really?
Yeah, but you got to walk. It's a half a mile. There's a big parking lot and everything.
Right. Yeah.
But they have shuttle buses. You could they'll take you right over to the front of the
Well, I went.
arena.
The last game I went to was in between Christmas and New Year's. The parking fee was $53.
Yes, that is insane.
Yep.
it's ridiculous.
Which is the going price everywhere now.
Unbelievable.
Going price everywhere.
Look at the passion of these two youngsters for bowling. They were doing a thing about bowling. Do you guys bowl? Will you bowl? Look at the passion of this kid and this girl for bowling. So bowling's coming back, making a comeback. Are you a bowler? Talk about bowling for a second.
I'm not the best bowler, really, but yes, I did take bowling at Nassau Community College.
Nice.
That was it. Was it?
It was one of my favorite phys ed classes because where else could you go bowl and eat French fries? I mean, seriously, I had a grilled cheese and French fries, and I was bowling. I mean, it was like that's my credit.
That's great.
Is that right?
Yes. Because it was a Garden City
you.
Bowl. That was where class was. We all met at Garden City Bowl.
And
it was right near the theater, so we would go across the street. Everyone in the theater goes in the teachers and the students would just drink. It was a different time back then, Tom.
Yes. Yes, it was.
Was it?
Yes.
I'm trying to find. There was a great story, and I thought you guys would love this, but I can't find it. It broke down how much it costs for a family of 4 to attend.
I saw that.
Yeah, and I had it, and I took it explicitly to do this, and I got the Kaidi Tong
Kaidi
story.
Tong. Did you hear about Kaidi Tong?
What happened to her?
Well, she has lung cancer.
Oh, I didn't hear.
Oh, wow.
But she's she's struggling with it, but she's still going to work. I mean, she's only on the weekends, but
Yeah. Is she on Channel 11 still?
she's on Channel 11. She's been there for 30 years.
Wow.
And you think of her, I think of her as being on Channel 7, and she was only there 10 years.
Do you want to know who, I got the results the late results, who won the Russian presidential election?
I'm excited.
It was a squeaker.
Oh, could just imagine.
They did a whole thing on Mike Francis.
Yes, I read that.
Did you? I brought that in for you because I figured you would be interested.
I read that.
I don't know where it is.
Because Steve Squared loves Newsday.
Well, you know what? I don't know if I love it, but I can't find the whole point of what I was trying to show you, and I can't. Whatever. Oh, this one. This is a little. I don't even know if it's worth saying, but it was. You like those Dear Abby things. My son is a college graduate with a job as a bartender. I get embarrassed telling people what he does. Help me. What should I do?
He's making a living. What the heck is what?
That's what the woman says. She says you need to support your son and not be ashamed of him. He's a college graduate who's working.
I know a lot of college graduates who was a bartender. My first boss in television bartended right out of college. It's the first thing they did.
So a lot of people.
You know.
Are there any bowling lanes left on Long Island? Is Massapequa, that bowling alley, still there on Merrick Road?
Yes, it is.
You know which? Yeah.
Yes.
By All American.
Didn't Levittown? Isn't there a bowling alley? Levittown Bowls or lanes or something like that? There is, right?
It still is.
There's still bowling alleys around, right?
Wantaw has one.
Do they?
Yep.
Yeah, right next to King Cullen.
Yep.
Yes. I thought that was a front for something. Is it? Are there actually pins in there?
Yeah.
Okay.
And balls.
At the bowls.
Cabbage. That's next week's show.
Graphite.
I just wanted to. I'm just teasing it out there.
Graphite.
So if you want to.
Just the way you said it to me, it's just I felt like we were playing password. Here.
Well, I was going to play with you with that. So you give me the feed word.
Okay.
If you can remember it, because I can't. That's why I'm asking you to give me the word. I know the comeback. I don't know the. Everybody knows the comeback, but I don't know the hints. See, I can't remember the hints, which is the funny part.
I forgot. Yeah, what was the clue when?
That's what I can't.
Felix says Aristophanes.
Right.
What was the
we
password?
know Aristophanes, but we don't know where he goes.
Was it bird?
No, because what does Aristophanes even mean?
Well, everybody knows that Aristophanes wrote a book called The Birds.
Right. So you might be right.
So give me these crazy clues. Aristophanes is ridiculous.
He goes, ridiculous. You got it. He goes,
the password is ridiculous.
Ridiculous.
I'll play.
And he goes, Aristophanes.
Aristophanes.
That's ridiculous. We've watched way too much television.
That was such a great episode.
Again, better earlier Odd Couples. No, I think they were always the same. I don't think Odd Couples really changed.
Well, first season Odd Couple was shot like a movie. It was in one camera. And
it's nice to see Kung Fu Panda still leading in the movie theaters.
it was cute.
You saw it?
I did see it.
Did you see Kung Fu Panda 4?
No.
What about 1, 2, and 3?
1.
Okay.
Did you see this new movie with Michael Keaton and Al Pacino?
I just read about it.
Oh, I loved it.
Really?
Loved
I
it.
just read the review yesterday.
It's called Knox Goes Away. Knox. Knox Goes Away.
Is it in the movies or is it something
I
streaming?
saw it in the theater.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, last week. It just came out Thursday.
Oh, it just came out.
Oh, this
Michael
movie
Keaton
was-
directed it, right?
Yes. Mm-hmm. Oh, I thought it was great.
I was watching, speaking of Instagram, they do, you know how they do these retro little videos, and they showed when Michael Keaton was named as Batman, and all the real diehards were like, he's small, this is ridiculous. They were so hated on him, like, you know, the Batman, you know, people.
They have these, the TV Academy has these Academy interviews where they have done interviews with every like major actor, television personality, technician, whatever.
Right.
And they talk to Mr. Rogers and they talk about how Michael Keaton, who is then by his real name Michael Douglas, was a production assistant on Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood.
Yes. I
Yeah.
did know that. I actually did know that.
And he was a stand-up comedian,
Yes.
starting off with.
Mr. Rogers?
No, he's Michael Keaton.
Mike and Keaton Douglas.
And he was like, that's why he would come on Letterman. Johnny Dangerously.
Oh, that's a great
It's
movie.
my mother pushed me. Give me
Once.
Once.
Joe
Piscopo. That was actually he was great in that.
You fucking assholes. You violated my fucking rights.
Just the way they, even Mary Lou Henner was great in that. Who played was that Maureen Stapleton?
Maureen Stapleton was the mother.
Oh my God, she was hilarious.
I love you like a daughter. I have to tell you something.
When she goes to the theater and she goes, I'll take a fish and some Red Hots. And she sits down with her fish. Everything in that movie.
They said she was actually very funny. She was a very bawdy, crazy woman. They loved her.
I mean, but she doesn't look like Edith there.
Okay.
Right?
Maureen. Who
am I thinking of? Jean.
They're not related, believe it or not.
That's what I thought they were related. They're not related?
No, they're not.
I'm glad that was an honest mistake because I was about to turn your mic off for that. That was.
Sorry, I am kidding. I'm sorry, boys. I can't find that. And I really thought you would have enjoyed that.
I did. I know what you meant. I know.
But they said the Yankees are the highest for a family of 4.
No, they're not. The Mets and the Yankees were on the lowest. The Knicks were on the highest.
Was it the Knicks? That's correct.
Knicks are on the
Knicks were on the highest. So I remember the number for the Knicks. For a family of 4, and they're including 2 beers, 4 soft drinks, 2 caps, some whatever.
Right.
Guess how much for a family of 4 to go to a Knick game with some beverages and some whatever food and whatever.
It was like $700.
More?
$943.
Good God.
It's Randall's wife.
That's what you don't get paid for, Tony. Thank you. That was beautiful.
9.
Oh my goodness.
$943 to take a family of 4, and then
for one game.
Yeah, it's not season tickets.
My goodness.
I mean, when you put in everything, because you're talking, which I still don't believe. How could that be?
I know. It's
But they showed, right, Yankees and Mets were on there, the Islanders, they were all in the hundreds. I mean, they were all obviously in the hundreds, because
they were all pretty expensive.
They were all pretty expensive. I don't know what those seats were. Like, it didn't say where the seats were or what, obviously, whatever. But it's become impossible to take, a family to a game. It's not right. Are you going to opening day? You go, don't you? You do that, right? That's a tradition.
It was a tradition for me for a long time. I stopped doing it for all. This will be my first one in a few. Actually, it's got to be about 10 years.
Oh, you are going?
But yeah, I'm going this year. Yeah.
Good. Who are they playing?
Milwaukee.
The Brew Crew. That should be a good game.
I'm excited.
The Yanks are in Houston.
Yes.
On a Wednesday. That's stupid. Or a Thursday, whenever it opens.
And here's something that gets my goat. Now, let me tell you, most people, there's some ball players that are, they have an attitude problem, and they're just, they just have a bad reputation. Then all of a sudden they come to the New York Yankees and they clean up their act and they actually behave themselves,
Soto?
No, I'm not talking about Soto.
Oh.
But an example, Gooden and Strawberry really made amends and they, whatever. So we got this Stroman. All right? Stroman, thank you.
Strohan played for the Giants.
Yes.
And that would be
Strahan,
almost
that
straight.
Would
And that would be straight. You combined a pitcher and a football player.
You know what I'm talking about.
I do.
So
easy dog.
He's always like saying stuff about whatever. He's complaining about the Mets. He got traded.
Yes, he's a very volatile. I'm not a bit. Let's put it right out there. I was not a fan of getting him, and I'm
so
not.
He comes to the Yankees. And all of a sudden, he sounds, this is my team. I grew up, I wanted to be a Yankee, whatever. Great. So Garrett Cole is out. He can't pitch. They ask Stroman, okay, we need you to pitch opening day in Houston.
He said no, thank you.
He says no.
He did? I didn't hear that.
He says
the thing of it is he said he's a very routine oriented and he would have to be off his schedule to make it for. But here's what I think. Here's what I think more happened. Of course, he doesn't want to open up against Houston.
Right.
Nobody does, except for Cole. And he's lined up to pitch the home opener, which would throw him off. So he wants that glitz. And he doesn't want.
I'm going to try that at work tomorrow. I'm going to call up. I'm going to say,
Steve's such a
I'm not going to come in. It's just throwing off my whole schedule.
We'll see what happens.
Just throw out my whole schedule.
Don't be a
Steve.
Yankee hater. Why don't you come to our side?
I'm not a Yankee hater.
No, you're not. You're not. No, Steve's not. He's actually. Steve will go to a Yankee game and stuff. Steve's not one of those. I know he's not. But I agree.
Stuff like this with the Mets.
No, I know. I was shocked when I thought he would jump at the chance and want to be like, yeah, absolutely, whatever you need. Those kind of players that say whatever you need, and then it was odd for him to say, which is an odd thing. And
wow,
it's all about them.
No. So what they're doing is, which I thought was odd, is they're opening it up to. That's also an auction. How much would you bid to start against Houston?
Steve, there you go.
Right? I'm going to slum. Actually, I got loose the other day in the garage I was throwing. So, you can... Well, just like you can bid to be an astronaut. Not bid. They're taking applications to be an astronaut.
Yes.
NASA's taking some people to simulate... Did you hear about this?
Yeah.
Where you can simulate a year, which I don't think is long enough. I would go for many years if I could get off the grid.
No, sure.
But you would... you want to do it? We'll apply. Could you stand me for a year?
Oh,
can we do the podcast show from there?
I don't know.
Can we still do Monday nights, Steve Squared?
Don't know if we could do that.
No, you couldn't. You could just barely get through this hour with me. Steve's already chomping. He's already looking at his phone, hoping that he can get the hell out of here.
I'm actually trying to find that article, Stupid Newsday article.
About what?
About the price of...
don't worry about it. We got the gist of it. It's enormously expensive.
I literally had it right in
I had it here, but it was... anyway, we can start wrapping up because we've talked enough about egg, cheese, bacon, and Stroman. And that maniac on the front page, Jerry Lewis.
Now. It's been a whole hour. I didn't yawn.
I know you did. You're doing so much better for someone that gets up at 3 or 2 in the morning. It's unbelievable. I don't know how you do it, and it's amazing. Either. So thank you, Stephen. And you have some chips at the end there if you want. I don't know whose chips are those.
I got them today. Help yourself,
Steve. Help yourself. But anyway, thank you, boys, for coming. Tony, always a pleasure. And just a quick note. We will have Joshy the Magician. I believe he's called Joshy K. Like Stevie K. He's Joshy K. I hope I said that right. He'll be, and there's McLean Stevenson. Oh, did you put it?
Yes, I put that up.
Oh, that's so good of you.
Let's see, Joshy.
He's the AKA the Magician or something. I'm probably saying his name wrong, and I feel bad to not even know the one guest I booked. I did know Robert Duvall, though.
Yes, you did.
I did know trivia. I knew Truman Capote. But I don't know Joshy K.
Hang on.
If you, that's him, Joshy K. I was right. If you, throw that up or anything if you can for a second before we close out. So Tony's putting it up, and this fellow will be coming on our show April 1st.
Okay.
Right after Easter, and we're gonna have a magic show.
So he's actually going to do some tricks?
That I don't know. He might charge us, but I would think he might do something. He's not going to just come on and talk. You would think I have to talk to him and negotiate that to see if he'll do a trick or two, maybe even divulge a secret.
Call CAA up and
I'll have to call the agent and see what they'll allow. I don't know what what they'll do, but he will be here.
Well, maybe the three of us will pitch in $5 each.
I asked him how much it would be to saw Steve in half, and he said he doesn't think he could do that.
Maybe a bacon.
I was going to bring in a black
maybe
and
a bacon, egg, and cheese.
Saw a black and decker. Saw a bacon, egg, and cheese in half. That's not a trick.
Oh, to pay him for.
Oh, I thought to saw an egg sandwich in half. I don't know if that's a trick. But hey, you got to start somewhere. Anyway, so he'll be on the Steve Scratch Show, so definitely tune in for that and more of this exciting cabbage talk. For myself, Funny Man Stevie K, Tony on my right, and of course, the ever sleepy manager.
Stop it.
The man, Stephen the Man.
I'm gonna yawn. You said it,
dude. Anyway, thank you so much. Have a wonderful week and have a wonderful night. Thank you. Good night.